Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to episode number 89 of Songs of Selah here on 17 Numa Radio. We live in historic times. There are no two ways of getting around the fact. So you can either let the chaotic waves crash atop your head and cause quite a disruption, disturbing your sacred peace, or you can accept the simple truth that higher order can only be reached and achieved after the turbulent ocean has had its fun, so you might as well ride atop the tide and enjoy the rush. And many will be swallowed beneath the surf, but not us, for the machinations of madness professed by fools hold no sway in our hearts, because our minds were designed to overcome all obstacles. And many will lament and throw their arms to the sky in despair, but not us, for the sorrow and suffering of this world have no power to break our spirits, because our tongues speak the word of affirmation for all of life, in both its beauty and its horror. And many would cower in fear and shyly say no, but never us, for we sing high notes harmonized with the great frequency of yes. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I'm your host, Scott Thomas Outler, and it is Wednesday, December 18th, 2019. We've got an exciting show lined up here tonight. Coming up in the next segment, I'll be playing a recorded interview with tonight's guest, David Antia. David is the founder and editor-in-chief of Ray of Thought, a cultural and literature venue that he operates out of Nigeria. He'll be discussing his motivation to launch the site and some of the highlight experiences that he and his team have enjoyed since that launch just over 1 year ago. And he will also be speaking about his writing process, his influences and mentors, and a whole lot more. Please stay tuned for that coming up shortly. I do encourage listeners to please take a moment and subscribe to the 17 Numa Radio channel. It's easy to do and it's free. All ye have to do is click the follow button found on the page where this episode is streaming, and that'll get you signed up. A reminder to everyone that all past episodes of Songs of Selah can be accessed or downloaded for later listening from the archive here on the channel or from the Songs of Selah page at 17numa.com. Be sure to check out some of the recent episodes from so far in December when you're in the mood, featuring interviews with guests Heath Brocker, Heather Haven, Anum Sitar, and Josh Dale, who joined the program earlier this week. Thank you to each of them for appearing, and big thank you as well to everyone who spreads the word about this program and shares episode links. Your support is greatly appreciated. Alright, that'll wrap things up here at the top of the show. Let's go to a short music break now, and then come back on the other side with tonight's guest, David Antia. Stay tuned.
Nature, nurture, heaven and
as a guest on a future episode of this podcast, or you'd like to recommend other guests, please feel free to contact me via email at 17numa@gmail.com, or connect with me and send a message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I'd be happy to get you set up for an upcoming episode in the early months of 2020, which I'm currently scheduling at the moment. Tonight's guest, David Antia, is the founder and CEO of Ray of Thought, a collaborative platform intended to connect thinkers and writers around the world to shine their thoughts on contemporary issues and also create influential impact. He is a physicist who has studied particle physics at the University of Geneva and astronomy at the University of Arizona. He has also studied Understanding Research Method at London University SOAS, and he is currently doing his BSc in Physics at the University of UO. He's a passionate writer who writes on personal development, business strategy, and on issues of public interest. This segment's going to be a little bit different than usual here in the interview portion of the show due to technical difficulties in connecting live. David actually recorded all of his answers to some questions that I sent him, so I'm going to be playing those here this evening, and I will do my best to make the process as seamless as possible. To open up the interview, I asked David to please speak a bit about the area where he lives in Nigeria and to talk about what he is currently studying in school.
Thank you so much, Scott Outla. I am very, very excited to be with your Blog Talk Radio. I'm very, very happy. You know, when the idea of featuring 17 Numia and Blog Talk Radio came up in the middle of the year, I immediately informed my teammates about it. And right now, they are very, very excited that this is coming from you. This is coming from no other person but Thomas Scott Outla. We have read several of your works, publications, and interviews, and we are convinced that your phenomenal thought, your kind of thought, can only come from a special and eccentric personality, which you are. Thank you so much for this privilege. Talking of where I come from, I'm from Akwa Ibom State, and I study physics at the prestigious University of Uyo. Akwa Ibom is a state in Nigeria. It is one of the 36 states in Nigeria with over 500,000 inhabitants. Here in Akwa Ibom State, we have an airport popularly called Ibom Air. It is one of the biggest in Africa. There is so much to talk about where I stay. We have 2 seaports on the Atlantic Ocean. And the present governor of the state, His Excellency Governor Dom Emmanuel, is currently constructing a world-class seaport, which will be called Ibaka Seaport. As a state, we are blessed with natural resources, and we are also known to be the most oil-producing state in the country. Aside that, we are known to house the popular Ibom Stadium, a 30,000 ultra-modern sport complex with world-class facilities. Akwa Ibom has many learning institutions, which include Akwa Ibom State University, Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, College of Education, etc., etc. A whole lot of them. Myself, I school at the University of Uyo, still situated in Akwa Ibom State. It's a federal university. We also have a world-class information center, which is located at the state capital, Uyo. That is where I reside. We call it the Ibom He Library. We speak English, we speak Anang, we speak Efik, we speak Ebibio, and we speak Oron and Eket. Yes. So that's it. Thanks so much. There is so much to talk about where I come from. But if I want to mention our culture and all of that, we may not have enough time to talk about other things.
All right. I certainly appreciate those kind words from David. And in the next question, I asked him about when his interest in writing and the arts began.
Well, it is a bit difficult to say exactly at what time my interest for writing and my interest in art actually began. But however, I would love to note that I started developing interest for writing after I read published works of some prominent authors like Chinua Achebe, Stephen Hawking, Friedrich Nietzsche, etc. You know, if you read their works, you get amazed by the way they go about in establishing facts through their writings. Myself, I got abreast with their pedantic approach they take in establishing their facts through writing. And so that inspired me. And I also began my writing when I realized that writing was the surest way, my own surest way, to communicate my idea to a wider audience. And so right now I have compendium of thought-filled articles I wrote when I was in secondary school to this time. Most of them are not published. Some I have also published.
And who have been some of the main influencers and mentors that have had the greatest impact on your life?
Thank you so much. Actually, a whole lot of people have influenced my life. And I think if I go by naming them, then we may not have enough time to talk about other things. As it is, a mentor is someone who helps you see the good in you, who helps you to see the hope inside yourself. And my parents have always done that. My father has been a very great source of inspiration. My father taught me to always believe in myself. He introduced me to spirit-lifting books very early. And I think that is because he has a voracious and undiscriminating appetite for fact. That has led him to investing on knowledge, buying books. I have also enjoyed the mentorship of David Emmanuel Omem. David Omem is a man I always refer to as the lion. A lion protects his territory and cares for the interest of others within his territory. David Emmanuel Omem has futuristic interest in others, especially the youth. He's the founder of David Omem Foundation and the CEO of African Children Aid Education and Development Foundation. His popular philosophy is that developing the youth, developing the mind of the youths, equal developing the entire nation. This idea has continuously affected me. It has continuously shaped me. And that is why, if you look at members and contributors of Ray of Thoughts today, they are mainly young people. I have also been influenced by Anya Ringwin-Loven. She's a woman whose sense of humanity is that of compassion. Let me also have the privilege of mentioning that Anya Ringwin-Loven is the founder of African Children Aid Education and Development Foundation, the largest child development center in Africa. I also have in Sidibor Rock, Don Odowan, Ikemini Jacob, Robert Alan Hano, and a whole lot of other people. And these people, my daily conversation with them have helped shape my view of the world. My life has also been refined and influenced by His Royal Highness, Chief Francis Egbeong. Through him, I have learned that no matter how poor one's family background is, there is always room for success for everyone who wishes to leave an imprint on the sands of time. And also in my University of Uyo, where I study, I also have Professor Aneswa Eset. He is a nuclear consultant. He's my role model. He studied nuclear physics, and today he's a professor of nuclear physics. And that is a path I want to do. That is who I want to be. Thank you.
Please tell us when you began your venue, Ray of Thought, and what the motivation behind that decision was.
Okay, Ray of Thoughts began at December last year. So next month will make us a year. You know, at that period, when I conceived the idea of Ray of Thoughts, I had in mind that for every problem, whether personal or corporate, which has proved too strong to be swallowed by a solution, that for such problem, there is a reason of straight thinking and conventional reasoning which has helped it survive. And so I thought that there was need for us to raise our thinking beyond the normal plane and see it through the platitude of convention, scientific and philosophical give it, and also establish same in a second dimension, which is an area just outside the box. I realized that there was need for us to think outside the box. There is still need for us to think outside the box. And I would love to also mention this, that when our thoughts are genuine and ingenuous, it becomes like a delicious meal that compels to liking even the most jaded palate. So no man whose thoughts bring solution is ever sidelined. So thinking to the impact level is what I conceived when the idea of Ray of Thought popped into my mind. And so now Ray of Thought is now a forum of young intellectuals, a forum of intellectuals who have come together to carry out research in science, literature, language, society, and humanity. The aim of which is to promote scholarship, revive the reading culture, as well as foster academic research among the youth. We have a prominent website where we publish our research, where we publish our articles, essays, interviews, and all of that. And that is www.rayofthoughts.com.
And who are some of the other team members that help with editing, formatting, and publishing at the site?
We have an editorial team, and in that team we have David Francis, Loveday McJolly, Shedrack Essen, Basi Utibo Mo, Etienne, Emmanuel Osoro, Victoria Omoren, and Edetedu.
What have been some of the favorite articles and essays you have published and projects that you've had a chance to work on during Ray of Thought's first year?
I've published so many interesting articles on the website, but then there have been special features that have attracted a huge number of traffic. One of such is Sound and Form, which I published 2 months after the launching of the website. And Sound and Form, it's written by you. And also I've published some fictions and non-fictions by Joan McNady and George Jezinja. I also have published interviews with prominent individuals like Antia, the founder of African Children's Education and Development Foundation, and also Fulakemi, the founder of Impact Nutrition Africa. These are special features. And then the conference proceedings of Ray of Thoughts have been of great interest to visitors, visitors of the website. So,
what subjects and themes are you most interested in covering when it comes to your own writing?
Every writer has something that they love to write about, a passion that drives them, a favorite subject that fascinates them. Myself, too, I also have something I love to write about. For me, I like writing about real-life incidents. I love writing about personal development. I also write about personalities who have made impact in the society. I love writing about science and history. I also love writing about the power of the mind. If you look at some of my published articles, you can actually see a display of myself, the love and the desire behind what I grade.
Could you talk a bit about your general writing process? How do you approach getting your thoughts onto paper once an idea has struck?
I want to believe that everyone has his own writing process. And that is why you are asking me to tell you my own writing process. Yes, whenever I want to write, I first think, I think everyone do that. After having some time to think, I take notes. I brainstorm with like minds. I outline my idea and gather more information. This process is what I will refer to as the pre-writing process. It is the first everyone must engage in, even though generating ideas is continuous throughout the writing process. But at this point, it is a time where you try to highlight your thoughts in bits, you know. So after this, what I do is I proceed to putting my idea into sentences and paragraphs. What I do is I concentrate on explaining my concept and idea fully. As I continue on, I carefully connect my ideas between the paragraphs and sentences. Let me mention the difference between this stage of my writing process with the one I had earlier mentioned. Regardless of how much thinking and planning you do, the process of putting your ideas in words changes them. As always, the very word I use in talking about my idea evoke additional ideas or implications. Everyone who has engaged in writing must have at one time or the other observed that the mere process of beginning to write will shape and even evoke additional ideas for what he wants to write about. So at this stage, I draft my work. I don't pay attention to spellings. At this stage, I am telling myself or what I know about the topic I'm writing. So after having my draft as a document in my hand, I revise it. I then think more deeply about my readers. Yes, this is why I think more deeply about my readers, how they will receive my writing, how they will receive my work. I think of their need and expectations. Here I aim to make the document reader-centered. I also evaluate my work to check out my supporting ideas if they are convincing enough to get my reader agreed with me. Here I ask myself, what term should be defined? I begin with higher order concerns to lower order concerns. At this stage too, I define my prose. I try to make each sentence as concise and accurate as possible. I make connections between ideas very explicit and clear. So this is the process I take when putting my ideas into writing.
And now the Ray of Thought is set to enter into its second year. What are some of the projects in development at the moment that you're most excited about?
Talking about the projects that most excites me at this moment, I would love to mention our book project. It is a kind that every member of Ray of Thought is currently engaging in. And we are hoping that next year we will publish a whole lot of books. This book project aims to make sure that every contributor at Ray of Thought is able to write a book, is able to write one book next year. And that is what we are currently working on. Aside that, 2 months ago we held a conference, an education conference, the first of its kind. And the theme of that conference was Education, the Youth, and the Challenges of the 21st Century, which way forward. We also had a sub-theme, which was Innovative Thinking for New Problems, the way forward for solving 21st century challenges. We are resource persons from University of Uyo, from Enugu State University, and other parts of the country in Nigeria. And we also have, we had a professor from English department, Professor Friday Okon, who was our keynote speaker, and our chairman, which is His Royal Highness Chief Francis Ekbeong, who was the chairman of the occasion. We plan on doing so much in 2019, the remaining months of 2019, and next year. We also plan of launching Maiden magazine, and I think that is going to be early January. So that is the project we have been working on, and we hope to complete.
In this final portion of the interview, I asked David if there was any recent paper of his own that he'd like to read, and he decided to share this book review.
Let me use this opportunity to talk about a book I reviewed of recent. The title is Dare It, Do It, authored by Niekeme Fimba. Niekeme Fimba is the essay to the governor, His Excellency, Governor Dom Emmanuel, on new media. Is a media aid to His Excellency. In my review, I've noted that every good book is a product of a genuine educator who is impelled by one need or the other to develop mentally, morally, or aesthetically his target audience. The manner in which such author impresses his thought and instructs his audience, in addition to what quality of information he passes, is to be a determinant for how his book should be judged. In this connection, the result of such work should be measured by how much it has been able to inspire and educe the target audience. The author of this book, of this 175-page book, has attempted in a unique way to inspire and induce hope in the minds of every reader who faces daunting and disheartening experiences of life at the wake of every moment. So, every visitor to this world of knowledge should ask himself what kind of education he needs before reading this book. As he followed the author in this white knuckle ride, his intention should revolve in his mind. Mentioning what manner of knowledge is contained in this book is a task of this review. And the aim is to help give answers to likely questions that revolve in the mind of everyone who will dare to read this book. The book is aimed to give hope to every reader, and such education is the most important to man. Mary Warnock had made a potent import in this wise when she remarked I think that of all the attributes that I would like to see in my children or in my pupils, the attribute of hope will come high, even top the list. To lose hope is to lose the capacity to want or desire anything. To lose, in fact, the wish to live. Hope, she said, is akin to energy, to curiosity, to the belief that things are worth doing. An education which leaves the child without hope is an education that has failed. So Niekeme Fimba has given us an education that cannot fail, an education that teaches about life and inspires hope. In the first chapter of his work, the author explains in a conversational manner how he dropped out from school and the consequences that greeted him as a result. Mr. Scott, this story is very peculiar and essential to Nigerians, especially young people who feel they can fall back on the stories of Bill Gates, on the stories of Mark Zuckerberg, whom they say those individuals are dropped from school and they made it, and so school is scam and all of that. The author utilizes his experience to teach how that he took up the challenge of starting school again, and ugly situations that was meted on him by friends and even life. And then he has utilized his experience to also teach about how and what humans do and react during when their fellows find themselves in hard situations of life. So for everyone who has tried and failed, the author has instructed that though such conditions are unmeriting of a derisive laughter, but that friends in our circles whom we often expect to understand us and comfort us are mostly the ones who throw stones at us, who laugh at us. These true stones painted in receivers, comics, and polished with every word ludicrous can import. The true test of friendship is in your dry season. Everyone dances in your umbrella when it rains around you. That is the author talking in page 19 of the work. He suggested a very radical and pedantic approach that is best in handling difficult situations of life, and even handling difficult people who make themselves fuels for the fire of life. He said that no matter how things are designed to be beautiful, that life will constantly set trap for you. The choice is to move forward or remain in lament. He advised that we should tell ourselves the truth always and take on the challenges of life. Also, as he moved from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to chapter 3, in the second chapter, he did not only employ useful techniques to exhort and motivate us, he also surprised us with approach of obtaining, right approach we should use in obtaining help from other people. He teaches that instead of going to our expected helpers with the should mindset, that is, she should help me, he should help me. I mean, she should know I am in need of help. She should help me. Instead of going to our expected helpers with the should mindset, we should rather go to them with the need mindset, stating clearly and specifically what manner of help we need from them. So, in other chapters, he has revealed that nothing of worth emerge without undergoing suppressions and continence. He even notes that even the very food we eat must go through fire. So also gold and other materials we cherish. So in this respect, he calls the reader to readily avail themselves to discipline, to self-control. So in totality, the bodacious decor of this book and its equal import is to help the reader understand and find what he already has, and which is all he needs, and that is hope. So, but I have also criticized a part in the book, and I did that when I called on the author to look at a part where he conversed that politician leaders especially do not have our best interests at heart, as they have not only personal desires but also political goals to achieve. Here I insisted to impress that such conversion is maybe mere exaggeration on his part, because he himself is a politician leader, and everyone knows that Antia Fimba has the interest of his followers at heart. So this is a very good book. I have recommended it to every unsuccessful individual and successful individual who wish to improve himself and help others improve. It is a very good book.
So thank you to David Antia for taking the time to answer my questions here tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed learning more about his writing and what he is working to achieve at Ray of Thought. David is one of the most motivated young writers I've met in the past 5 years since I became involved in different literary circles. I have a lot of respect for his entrepreneurial spirit, and I've no doubt that he and Ray of Thought have a bright future ahead. If you'd like to find out more about David and his work, please swing by 17numa.com, where I also published a written interview of his earlier this week. Some of the topics he discussed tonight are covered, as well as digging deeper into other subjects as well. That interview can be found at 17numa.com as the Showcase Spotlight number 15, and you can also find more about his work and what he's been publishing at rayofthought.com. Please do click that follow button to subscribe to the 17 Numa Radio channel, and do share this episode link on your social media platforms to help spread the word if you would. It's greatly appreciated. Going to go to another music break here, and then we'll come back on the other side with some closing thoughts for the night. This is Hard Sun by Eddie Vedder.
When I walk beside her, I am the better man. When I look to leave her, I always stagger back again. Once I built an ivory tower so I could worship from above. When I climbed down to be set free, she took me in again. There's a big hard sun beating on the big people in a big hard world. When she comes to greet me, she is mercy at my feet. Yeah, when I see her pin her charm, she just throws it back at me. Once I dug an early grave to find a better land. She just smiled and laughed at me and took her blues back again. There's a big hard sun beating on the big people in a big hard world. Oh, there's a big hard sun beating on the big people in a big hard world.
Welcome back to Songs of Selah here on 17 Numa Radio. Getting to the end of the show now, and I wanted to say thank you once again to David Antia for appearing on tonight's episode as a guest and for taking the time to send in all of those recordings. It's been a pleasure getting to know more about your work and also collaborating on several projects during this past year. Congratulations on the 1-year anniversary of Ray of Thought that just took place this week. Looking forward to watching your venue grow more in 2020 and the years ahead, and wishing you much success as that new year comes heading our way right around the bend. One of the essays David had mentioned in his interview as having published during this past year was my piece, Sound and Form. So I thought it would be a nice way to conclude tonight's episode by reading that selection. This is Sound and Form. Words are fire erupting from the blood, a volcano amplifying in the mind, an explosion from unknown subconscious realms that sends the psyche spinning in a swirl toward new ideas. Words are the Garden of Eden, the tree under which the Buddha sat in silence, the lotus that grew from Vishnu's navel, the path of Tao, the power of every mystery experienced internally that finally finds expression in the world through language. Words are crushing blows dealt to the heart when love is not enough, the ecstatic euphoria when romance is born anew, the quiet contemplation and meditation during moments in between. Words are the resonance of primal emotions that reverberate through auditoriums, amphitheaters, classrooms, bookstores, sound stages, open lots, attics, and basements around the world, wherever poetry is being recited. Words are birth and death and yawning graves that call for the mortal flesh to return to its original state of dust. Words are the urn where your father's ashes rest, the open seas where ships sail in spite of fear, the high skies where planes carry passengers to reunite with family members that haven't been seen in ages. Words are the first breath that escapes lungs as a baby is spit forth from the womb, the sacrificial wound, the last gasp that escapes a chest riddled with cancer. Words are angels, and demons, and Satan, and God. Words are the sighs between silk sheets as sweat pours in the steamy night, the fever dream visions of madness, the hallucinations of shamans in the forest as they recite prayers to Mother Nature. Words are the simple truth of connection shared with our friends, the venom spewed from our enemies' fangs, the indifference shown toward those who are shunned from our presence, the embrace of all those we soon shall meet in the future. Words are electric neon pulse rays, vibrant prisms made manifest through mere thought, ideas passed down through generations, ancestral DNA decoded and unleashed upon a sleeping species. Words are renaissance and revolution and rebirth through the grace of absolution. Words are salvation experienced in the split of a single second, the shattering of an atom, the mission to space, the galactic Big Bang. Words are the dialogue performed by two individuals to describe the perfect union of complete oneness realized when we eventually return to the source before being cast once more from the womb. Words are karma and fate and faith and destiny and free will choice and determinism and science and religion and philosophy and spirituality. Words are shape and form and sound and color and kaleidoscopic spirals of kinetic energy. Words are multiplied and triangulated and exponentially evolving into whatever utterance we humans create next to bring this existential paradox of life out of the swirling chaos and into a singular order of higher light. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. We'll see you on the other side. Selah.